In the spring of 1980, a slasher franchise was born. The movie was a huge hit with a string of sequels over the next 2 decades. If you look at the scores on Rotten Tomatoes, other slashers from around the same time like Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Nightmare on Elm Street, and Halloween, they have all scored significantly better than the first Friday the 13th. Are these movies so much better than Friday? Or is it something else? Well, these movies being better is subjective, but here are my thoughts. If you look at Nightmare on Elm Street, you have Freddy, who not only has a scary and funny personality, thanks to Robert Englund, but he kills people in their sleep. How scary is an antagonist that can kill you in your sleep? This adds an extra layer of fear that other slashers don't have. Also, you have Heather Langenkamp and Johnny Depp, who helped to make the movie even better. The Texas Chainsaw Massacre had that raw and gritty feel, which gave the movie a realistic look. You really buy into the Hewitt family being completely insane. This movie is very good at the psychological torture aspect, and Gunnar Hansen is great as a chainsaw-wielding maniac, Leatherface. This movie came out in '74, and you could credit it with being the first slasher. And finally, Halloween. In my opinion, this is one of the best slashers of all time. First you have the Shape, Michael Myers. There's no rhyme or reason for why he kills. He just does. There's literally no reason for him to go after Laurie Strode, other than he happened to see her and her friends. You also have Donald Pleasant and Jamie Lee Curtis, who both certainly bring the acting up to another level. It also doesn't hurt that the movie takes place on one of the best days of the year, and this would make Michael Myers blend in. Nobody's going to pay any mind to a guy in a mask on Halloween. And finally, you have an absolute horror legend behind the camera in John Carpenter. Now what about Friday? Does it have a killer that can kill you in your sleep, or deeply disturbing psychological horror, or a killer that has no motivation that just kills to kill? Nope, none of that. This is a story about a mother who snaps and kills the people in her mind that are responsible for her son's death. And anytime someone tries to reopen the camp, she kills those people as well. Betsy Palmer is fantastic as Mrs. Voorhees, and Adrienne King is great as Alice. I have often wondered, and have had many conversations with my brother, whether or not this was intended to be a standalone film. I feel like this would be a much more loved movie to this day if it was just a little one-off film. I'm not saying the movie is perfect by any means. You may find the characters uninteresting, or some of the slow moments may be too slow. But honestly, I think the biggest problem is as younger generations discover the Friday the 13th movies, and they have all the other movies, and the fact that Jason Voorhees is a horror icon, there's no Jason here. Not like we know him now. Yes, in my opinion, this hurts the movie more than anything. I believe because Jason is such a horror icon, it's harder for younger generations to accept that Jason's not the main focus. Now, I might be wrong here about everything I said. In fact, I probably am. But think about this. How does a movie made on a modest budget make what equates to hundreds of millions of dollars in today's money have such lower rankings than similar movies made at the same time? Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching.